Introduction to Vedanta. And this study is going to be a study where we will not be taking up any one particular text to study. Rather, this would be a lecture series on a number of topics which will serve as a gateway for any seeker to understand Vedanta. In the previous class, we saw this hoarding example of the dog and the cat. Anantanji, please come front. We saw this example of the dog and the cat, and from that we understood that there are two types of knowledges. The first one is the indirectly beneficial knowledge, and the second type is the directly beneficial knowledge. What is this indirectly beneficial knowledge? Indirectly beneficial knowledge means that knowledge which does not give the benefit directly. Yes, that's what it reads. That means I have to do something after acquiring the knowledge to convert it into, or to enjoy the benefit, to draw the benefit out of it. I have to do something to convert the knowledge. The knowledge has to be converted into any possession, name, fame, money, whatever, so that I draw benefit out of it. And what is directly beneficial knowledge? Mere knowledge alone is enough to give the benefit. There is nothing else that I need to do after the knowledge or following the knowledge. This is called directly beneficial knowledge. And we saw that our scriptures, Vedanta Shastra, deals with this second type of knowledge called directly beneficial knowledge. That is, where the knowledge alone is enough for me to cross over my pain, sorrow, fear, the smallness, or this notion of lacking, the sense of lacking that I have, that I miss something. This notion or this thinking that I am insignificant. We saw that this is a notion, and this notion we termed it as the core problem of the human beings. The cause of this problem, that I am insignificant, is not knowing the reality or the truth of myself. Therefore, self-ignorance is the cause of the notion of self-insignificance. So, self-ignorance leads to self-insignificance, which further leads to my helplessness, where I am not able to do anything about improving my condition. And with the increased amount of helplessness, we saw that I lose the capacity to trust this world or anything around me. And I am into this constant struggle to cross over my helplessness. And I come across in this process, as part of leading my day-to-day life and as part of my struggles, I meet a lot of people and I come across a lot of systems in the society that promise me a relief. And all those systems which promise a relief in future, provided the conditions are followed, we saw them that they are a set of non-verifiable beliefs. Now, can I trust them because they are not verifiable? Will I be able to trust something like that? Or what is that I can confidently place my trust on? I can only trust something that is verifiable here and now. I should be able to verify it here and now. And that something that I trust should not be subject to any negation, any sort of negation. It should be valid. Its validity should be evident to me. At this juncture, where I have lost trust on everything around me, while my helplessness is continuing, and I have not found a way out to address my core problem, this is where we saw that Vedanta is sitting there with a board, "May I help you?" Therefore, Vedanta gives this knowledge which we saw is a directly beneficial knowledge, the liberating knowledge, knowing which I will be free from my core problem as I live my life. So I don't need to do anything about the life that I lead. There is nothing that I need to change. It is only that I need to know. It is only that I need to know to be free from all the problems that I am facing now. Now, this knowledge we saw that Vedanta gives is called Atma Vidya. Atma Vidya literally translates as self-knowledge. Atma means self and Vidya is knowledge. But do I have the capacity to study it myself, to know it myself? No, I don't have the capacity to know it myself. Why? Because Atma Vidya, as the name suggests, it is self-knowledge. It is knowing about myself. And we saw the example of the mirror, where to look at my own face, I don't have a means, but I need to take the help of the mirror. And even when I have the mirror in front of me, unless I have a good functioning pair of eyes, I will not be able to see my image in the mirror. I will not be able to know my face or see my face. Yes. So I need a mirror and I also need a functioning pair of eyes. Akin to this, Shastram is often compared to a mirror which shows myself, which unfolds the reality of myself. So Shastra that reveals the reality of the self is often compared to the mirror, and therefore it is called Shastra Darpanam. Darpana means mirror. There is a very similar word in Sanskritam which is Tarpanam. Okay, Tarpanam and Darpanam are not one and the same. Tarpanam means the ritual that is performed to the forefathers, okay, on specific dates. Now that is different. That is Tarpanam, that is Tha. This is Da, Darpanam. So, Shastra is called Shastra Darpanam, means the mirror of Shastram. And we saw that I also need a functioning pair of eyes. So, what are those eyes that I need to see myself clearly using Shastra Darpanam? That is nothing but the eye of intelligence. I need to have a prepared mind. Where I have a prepared mind, it is only when one has a prepared mind and where one exposes himself to the teaching, to the systematic teaching of Shastram, that one will know himself or herself. There is a Subhashitam in Sanskritam which says, Yasya nasti swayam prajna shastram tasya karoti kim lochanabhyam vihinasya darpanaha kim karishyati. It says, Yasya nasti swayam prajna. The one who does not know or who does not understand the very core problem, that he is having a core problem. That basic thinking process itself has not happened. That he is helpless if somebody has not diagnosed this itself. Shastram tasya karoti kim. What will Shastram do, or what use would Shastram be to that person? And here the Subhashitam gives this example. It says, Lochanabhyam vihinasya darpanaha kim karishyati. Just like how for a blind person, mirror will not be of any use, in the same way, for a person who is not able to appreciate his problem or see or think through the helplessness that he is given to, he will not be able, or for him, Shastram will not be of any use. Therefore, an intelligent person will be able to examine the experiences of his life and will be able to diagnose this core problem that he has. And where one has diagnosed this problem, has identified that he has this problem, and where Shastra comes to his rescue and he draws the best benefit out of Shastram, and he gets, or he or she gets, this liberating knowledge which is the directly beneficial knowledge. But we saw that this study should not be all by myself. I should go to a teacher, a guru. So the teacher teaches. What does the teacher teach? The teacher teaches all the stuff he or she believes to be correct? No. Where we say guru or a traditional teacher, the guru and Shastra are inseparable. Guru is always with the Shastra, and Shastra has to be always with the guru. So Shastra enquiry has to be done only with the help of the guru. When we say Shastra Darpana, it is in fact the words of the guru which act as the mirror. Therefore, we saw that the guru and Shastra are inseparable, and Shastra without guru will not be of use to you. You will not understand. And where the guru is a guru without Shastra, it is very dangerous. He or she will not be able to guide you properly. That is why we saw that the tradition is more important. In the previous class we saw this, that the tradition is more important than the person. And it is the tradition, it is the traditional teaching that makes the difference. And we will see more about the guru, the shishya and the teaching later on in the classes that come up in this series. Now, this world around me, I see, comprises of living and non-living things. There are both living and non-living things. You have a table, chair, tree, dog, cats, everything. Right? And these living beings like dogs, cats and all these animals, they are aware of themselves to some extent. Because a dog can identify a dog. It does not confuse with a cat. And a cat knows its species. It also knows the dog. It knows that there is a danger with the dog. Right? So, and they are happy doing whatever they are doing. unless somebody comes to threaten their life, something happens. That, they understand they are in danger. A monkey that lives in the tree, isn't it happy doing whatever it is doing? Definitely. So all these animals with 4 legs or whatever are happy leading their lives. What about this human being with 2 legs? So, does it make me, just because I walk in 2 legs, does it make me greater than the animals? In fact, this human being is the one who is more unhappy than all the other beings. Right? Now this cow or a goat is a vegetarian. And for how long the cow has been vegetarian? The cow has been vegetarian all its life. Cows have been vegetarian for how many centuries? Right from the time the cow was created until now, the cow it has never been its choice to taste non-veg. Right? So cow goes from here, there are these wonderful cows, this Gir cows of Gujarat, which are supposed to be one of the top breeds. There is somebody who purchased Gir cows from Gujarat to the US. And the cow was sent to the US, so the cow is now flying to the US on site. So the cow goes there. So once the cow, it was a Jain cow, as long as it was in Gujarat. And now it has gone to the US. So what happens? I can have a little bit. No. The cow sticks to vegetarianism, and the tigers, what do tigers do? They eat cows. For how long? Right from the time they were created. That is how tigers are. Right? So cows are vegetarians and tigers are non-vegetarians. What about these human beings? Human beings, do they eat animals? Yes, they do eat animals. So how different are you from a tiger? How more evolved are you from a tiger? Maybe, a human being buys some meat, he refrigerates and he keeps the meat and has it as, there's something called this frozen food culture. That was, I have initially seen that in the Western countries, and now, they have peeped into India also. You have a lot of this frozen food culture. Tiger doesn't go in for frozen food. It catches its prey, it eats for that meal, and it forgets about it. It doesn't, catch one more and refrigerate for dinner. Okay? Or for tomorrow. It doesn't say that. That is done only by human beings. How better are you from a tiger? You know something? Dogs can hear better than you. Dogs can hear better than you. Animals lead a very, very healthy life, and they don't need specs after the age of 40, at least. They don't need hearing aids. And they don't have complexes, And the best part about animals is they don't have diabetes. They don't have blood pressure problems. Right? But you know what? All these rats are tested with the medicines that are to be given to human beings, are made for human beings. All the diabetes medicines are tested on rats. Yeah. The rats are clinically made diabetic, and they are tested for diabetes medicines. How sad. Animals have the capacity to interpret nature better than you. A bird knows which fruit is really sweet. Do we know that? We don't know. Which fruit is ripe and which one is not? We don't know. Right? So, in fact, we don't even know how real the food that we eat is. But the animals have this sense of judging whether it is good or not good. But only these human beings are the people who keep claiming, I am peculiar. Animals don't say I am peculiar or I am greater than you, I am better off than you. It is only human beings that claim these things, right? Animals are far more simple. In fact, I will say animals are far predictable. You know you should not go near a tiger when it is hungry, right? And after it has had its food, it will not bother you. But can you predict a human being's mentality, whether he'll pounce on you or not? At what time or what mood one would be at 8 a.m. in the morning? What mood one would be at 10:30 in the morning? Do you know? Or would you be able to predict at least yourself? If you can tell how you would be 2 hours from now. Huh? Or do you plan something like that? No, totally unpredictable. No, unpredictable. So in all these ways, human beings are very, very different. And human beings are also conscious about themselves, himself or herself. You are able to say, you are able to perceive a lot of things, you are able to say a lot of things about yourself. Human beings are able to say that I am a black or I am a white. This black-white concept is from the West. You know, in India we don't say black-white. We have a different system here. We say dark and fair. If you go to the matrimonial websites, that is how we are all classified. At least all the boys and girls out there are classified as dark and fair. And there is one unique complexion which is nowhere else in the world, which is only in India. You know what is it called? It is called wheatish. Yeah. And somebody who says wheatish, it only means that he or she is not able to accept that they are dark. At least their parents cannot accept that. Yeah. So, monkeys also are of different colors. You see different color monkeys, but there is no complex. You know, this dark monkey is not having complex about this wheatish monkey. Or wheatish monkey is not having complex about the fair ones. Right? Only human beings have all these complexes. Therefore, who is a human being? Human being is the only one in this planet that has complexes. The only one in this planet. Out of innumerable species that live on this planet, it is only this human being who is unique. Why? Complex. Now tell me, who is more evolved? If I have to be evolved, then I should actually be free from all these complexes, right? But I find in a given situation, some people have more complex, whereas some people have very less complex in the same situation. And how do we understand the people out there? We say the one who are with lesser complex. The lesser complex, we call them more mature, evolved. Lesser the complexes are, the simpler they are, we consider them to be more mature. Now, having said that, in a given situation, people behave differently because of different complexes. Therefore, it is very clear, what is clear? That the problem is not with the situation, because the situation being the same, people react differently to the same situation. Therefore, the problem is not with the situation. Where is the problem? The problem is psychological only. The way one looks at the situation, the way one understands or judges the self based on the situation. Yes? So, I already have this notion of smallness, that I am limited, that I am of limited knowledge, limited talent, limited skills, limited power, limited wealth, limited money, limited beauty, limited height. And I think people don't have complex of limited weight, maybe of the other way around, right? So now, there is one example that Pujya Swamiji often gives in his classes. This is a classic example that Pujya Swamiji gives, which I would like to quote here. So it's a very nice example. There are these dog shows, right? Where, of a dog show, right? In the West, it is very common at least. So the owner of the dog takes the dog to the contest, and the race or whatever, the contest happens. Now, who comes to the contest? The dogs don't come by themselves. In fact, they don't even know that they are participating in the contest. They don't even know that they have won or they have lost. They don't understand all that. The owner of the dog brings the dog to the contest, and it is the owner of the dog that celebrates. The owner of the dog that won, that celebrates, leaving all the other owners jealous and with complex, right? And we have a contest too. I understand this Miss World contest. Now, what is this Miss Universe? Okay. I also understand that there is something called Mr. Universe, which is very unpopular, I believe. I think it's only Miss is very popular. Yeah. So, how do somebody call themselves as Miss Universe? All right, maybe one can call herself as Miss Universe unless people from the other planets or galaxies come and contest with you. Until then, maybe you are the Miss Universe. People really don't know who is the real Miss Universe. And human being with all these kind of things, don't you find them very funny? No? So, the dogs don't want to prove that they are the best. They don't get into that mode. But the owner of the dogs wants to prove. The dog does not hold the trophy. Who holds the trophy for the dog winning the contest? It is the owner that holds the trophy. And the other owners are sad. The dogs that lost, are they sad? The dogs are not sad. Maybe they wonder why this fellow is sad. Why this fellow is, something wrong with this fellow. He was all right some time back, and now he is having a long face. So human beings, don't we see that we are such complex idiots? For want of a better word. So always there is this constant attempt to be different from what one already is. Always. You see people coloring their hair. The black hair ones want blonde hair, or something of that shade, and all the blonde hair ones want blonde or black, or some exotic colors. They color it with pink and green and what not. And there is this complex on eyebrows. Yeah, there is a lot of money that people make with these beauty parlors and women coming into the beauty parlor, because everybody is so obsessed about an ideal self that they want to be in terms of their looks. And this complexion and all the fairness treatment with respect to wealth, again, there is a lot of attempt to constantly, to be different from what I am now. I'm not happy with what I am now, and I want to be different. Money, possessions, just anything. So, what I want to be different from now, how all I want to be different, varies from one person to other. I have a list and the other person has another list. So what I want to be different may vary, but that I want to be different is common among all human beings. It is a universal problem. And this person is already given to a lot. And he wants to be free from the lot. If not, at least, if not, even if I'm not able to be happy without all those problems, or, remain fulfilled without those problems, at least, I seek some basic relief from the current situation that I'm going through. At least, that much. This human trait is called Purushartha in our scriptures. Purushartha or Purushartha.